So it's a privilege to be here today. I feel so blessed, being part of this amazing generation of ours. Everybody wants to live their dream, follow it, do what they want to do, and make a difference. So I got introduced, and you heard about what the Indian Track Club is. It is India's first professional running club. I believe it's important to understand why I made this club and how I started it. But I want to take you through my journey, and I want to tell you how it all got started. So I was born in a very sporting family. My mom was a national level runner. My father was a boxer and an athlete. And all my brothers and sisters growing up, they dreamt about becoming professional sports persons. So it was golfers, runners, cricketers, footballers, you name it. So I did the same. I chose the sport that many of us, I'm sure out here, are from the 90s, growing up in India. I grew up playing cricket. So I was so passionate about this sport, and I knew I wanted to do this. I wanted to play alongside the likes of Sachin Tendulkar, and that's what I dreamt of, like all those little kids growing up in India, right? Many of them, like right now, that's what they do, dream about playing for the country. And my mom and my dad, they instilled this into me and my younger brother growing up. Karan and my younger brother Arjun, you got to do something for the country. Whatever you do in life, go out there, do it for the country. So I was so passionate about playing cricket that I wrote a postcard to God. I was 12 years old when I wrote a postcard to God, and I said, I just want to become the best leg spinner in the world. Love, Karan, 99. 12 years old, I don't think this postcard ever reached God. It was found in my mom's closet, and I just think about this, and it just shows I was so passionate about this sport, and this is what I wanted to do. So growing up, I continued playing cricket. I was good at it. I played Delhi State cricket, and I was getting better at it. And through my teenage years, I came across two individuals who had the biggest impact in my lives, and they led to what I'm doing today. I'm doing this because of their actions and their words. So I would like you to meet them, and I connected deeply with them. So the first person I want you to meet is this individual called Prefontaine. He's no more. He passed away when he was 24 years, way before I was even born. He lived in this place called Eugene, Oregon. This guy was one of the best runners of all time. I was playing cricket, but I was still dreaming about becoming like a runner, and I was thinking about, this guy, he's inspiring me. He is so amazing. His one foot was shorter than the other. He still ran. He broke records. People followed him. He was unbelievable. For me, he was the man I looked up to. This is Steve running, and this is one of his famous quotes. It says, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. This has so much power. It has so much courage in what he said, and it inspired me. So what I'm doing today is because of these words, and I believe in what he said. The next person I want you to meet who inspired me and what I'm doing today is Captain Chaudhary. You see Preetham in the picture right there. He's looking up at the Indian flag. He's a very good friend of mine, and we started playing cricket together. We dreamt about playing cricket for the country. And he transitioned onto representing India right in the line of fire. He's currently serving for the Indian Army in Sudan, and he's loving what he's doing. He's living his dream, And this is what he told me once when I was 15 years old. He says, Karan, it's one thing to follow your passion, but I challenge you. I challenge you to go beyond that. Try and make a difference, a positive difference in people's lives, and be the change. I challenge you, Karan. He told me, it stayed in my head, I was so excited. I said, wow, this guy has told me something, and it's so meaningful. But I was young, 15 years old. I got back to playing cricket. That's what I wanted to do. My plans were set out. I knew what I was going to do. I was going to get out of school. I'm going to get into Ranji Trophy. When I get into Ranji Trophy, I'm going to play for the country. Life is planned out. That's what my parents wanted. Thinking about it now, I think God had different plans for me. So I was playing cricket and playing at a good level until one day. It was like the world came crashing down. This is my knee, my right knee. I injured my right knee, and I tore my ligaments. So I had no more ligaments in my right knee. Within 7 months, I tore my second knee. Same surgery. I was out from the sport for 2 years. My world came crashing down. It was like God had taken 2 feet away from me. All I knew was playing cricket. And you know how it is, right? You're 17 years old. You're making decisions in your life. And you want to go out there, be successful. And all I knew as a little kid was how to play cricket. And my life was made. And boom, for 2 years, I was bedridden. I couldn't do nothing. all I knew was playing cricket. And it was difficult, life was in darkness. But in this negativity of 2 years, which is the worst 2 years of my life, came out the most positive thing. So as you all know, when you're injured, you come out through rehabilitation. And I had my rehab. Through my rehab, I started walking. Once I started walking, I started running. And the more I ran, the more I enjoyed. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it so much that after 5 to 6 months of my injury, I obviously wanted to get back to cricket, that's because that's what I wanted to do. But I was going for my cricket practices, but I was so looking forward to getting back home, and I want to go for that 5-kilometer run. So I started running recreationally at the age of 19. I started running recreationally every day, 5 to 10 kilometers, wherever I could find space. Parks, you could name it, stadiums, roads, treadmills, and that's what I was doing. So I was thinking of Prefontaine, and like I said, since childhood, the Indian flag and doing things for the country was so important. So in my head, I had the Indian flag, and in my head, I had Prefontaine who was running with me. And I said, oh my God, I'm loving this. This is so much better than cricket. I am so passionate about it. I don't feel like going for cricket. I feel like running morning, evening. So I told myself, I said, Karan, let's try a shot at this. Move cricket from your life and move on to running. I went and told my parents. It took some convincing, It took some convincing. My parents believed me. They said, Karan, if you truly believe in it, go for it. You're going into college, manage your time, try and handle it. But with those knees, was it possible actually making a legitimate chance of becoming a professional level runner with 2 bad knees? So we went to the doctor, one of the best surgeons in India, who worked on both my knees, and he says, you're crazy. To even think that you want to become a professional runner is crazy, let alone do it. But I said, I'm going to go and do it. My parents were with me. We went for it. And that's what I wanted to do. And I started training. I got myself a coach in Delhi. And I trained hard. I trained night and day. My timing was crazy. People called me nuts. I used to go to college, a management institute, but I used to get up at 3:30 in the morning, go for training at 4:30, train for 2 hours, come back at 6:45, eat my breakfast, go to college, come back, sleep for an hour, go for 2 hours of training again, come back home, eat my food, and sleep. That was what I did 6 days a week, twice a day, 3 years in a row. I worked hard, and it paid off because I got better. And then I got this amazing opportunity to move to the United States. And that's me with the Indian flag in the United States. When I started winning races and I started doing well, I started doing so well that I got called up for the Indian national camp. I did even better, and guess where I moved? I moved to Eugene, Oregon, the dream place where I wanted to be since childhood, and Prefontaine, Tracktown, USA. This is Eugene, Oregon. That's a picture of me. That's a priest's grave. And very, very meaningful for me. And something that I cherish for the rest of my life. And I moved there, Life is amazing how it takes you to these places. And that's Tracktown, USA. So Tracktown, USA, if some of you, most of you out here might not know about this, but Tracktown, USA is Eugene, Oregon. And all the best runners in the world, when they dream about becoming a better runner and a professional runner and getting professional contracts, that's where they move. And that's where I was. So I ran for 2 professional teams, living my dream, living the life. Perfect, right? Now, all of this, right, if I'm living a perfect life, why move back to India and start something, what I'm doing right now? Why am I doing what I'm doing right now? I'll tell you why. So there were a few things that happened, right? Instances happen, facts happen, and then you move on. So I'm training, and I'm training hard. Sorry about that. I'm training hard, and I used to live in the United States for 6 months and come back to India for the national camp and go back. That was what I did. So I lived in the best place in the world, which had the top-notch training, the best sports medicine, the best coaches. I had the best teammates to run with. So the environment was perfect. And you look at India in the world of athletics, it's right in the lower tier. So I had the best of both worlds, right? I saw what I saw. So when I would move to the national camp, it'll take me a long time to explain to you exactly what happened, but I'll take out a few instances that triggered me and started what we started. How many of you out here know what a how many of you know how many of you out here know what an ice bath is? I don't think many of you do know what an ice bath is. An ice bath is something that an athlete looks forward to the most. It is the most fun part about an athlete. So you're training hard, and you have these gruesome sessions, and your muscles are tired. You put in a tub, you put in cold water, and then you put ice in it, and you get into it, right? It's fun. She's having fun, right? She's having fun. No, it's not that much fun because, it's cold and it's difficult to get into that. But you get used to it as an athlete. But talking about ice baths, so, coming from America, I had this inflatable ice bath. You put air into it and you put water into it, and you can control it, temperature, and it's really nice and hi-fi, and the water seeps out in a particular way. And I was like, I'm taking that ice bath to the national camp, and I got into it one day after my session. Got into it, and I got out, and I looked outside my window, and what do I see? I see number 1, number 2, number 3 ranked runners in India holding slabs of ice and putting it on the knees and the legs. And I said, oh my God. No, 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 no. What was I? No, these are the best runners in the country, running the Commonwealth Games, the Asian Games. The best runners in the country. And they're putting slabs of ice. And look at me, I'm in this fancy, nice little ice bath of mine, you know. It hurt me. It hurt me like a dagger in my heart. But not so much for me to make a change. I moved back to Eugene, went back. Because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a professional runner, and I was a professional runner. I wanted to do even better. I was close to running for the country. That's what I wanted to do. So when I moved back to Eugene, something happened that changed everything. One day in June 2012, a big event took place there, where the best runners in the world, the top 30 female runners in the world, were invited to come and compete. And 2 Indian runners, the number 1 and 2, Prija Sridharan and Kavita Roth, who were very close friends of mine as well, they came there. They came there with the Indian flag, and it was a proud moment for me. The Indian flag is there. The best Indian runners, best girls are there, coming and training with, running in this big race. But what happened in that race? They ran that race, and they came last and second last out of 35 girls. And they got overlapped, which meant that they finished one round, and one person crossed them again in one lap. 80% of them. I saw that. I was driving back home, a rainy night. It rains a lot in Eugene, so I was driving back, and I kept nodding my head. I said, no, 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 no. This can't happen. This is India we're talking about. What are we doing? Do we really have I asked myself that question. Does India have a legitimate chance of winning medals or even qualifying for the Olympics? Do these girls even stand a chance? I said, no, they don't stand a chance. We need to change something. Then Preetham, what he told me, being the change, came into my head. And I said, I'm going to do something. I penned something down that night, and I said, I'm going to start making a plan, and I'm going to make it happen in a way that we're going to start with working with young little children. It has to start. A culture has to start. And what I saw in Eugene, because they work a lot with young kids. So, moving on, I made this big decision of moving back to India. So it took me 10 to 12 months to make that plan, sitting there in Eugene. But I moved back to India, and I had this whole positive force behind me, because all the best professionals in the world, they said, Karan, this is a revolutionary idea. Just go for it. Don't think twice. This is it. You can do it. And we're always there to help you. So I came with this whole barrage of positivity. I landed in India. And what do I get? Negativity. Said, no way. This cannot happen, son. Few months down the line, you'll realize things. This doesn't work like this. You'll come back to your normal thing. Then you might go back to Eugene. You might do your own thing. This is India. India does not have a sports culture. Nobody even wants to run. How will you even get one athlete who wants to run for the country? Who wants to run? Everybody wants to play cricket, or they want to get into engineering, or so and so and so and so. I heard enough of that. I said, no, there is a way about it. Even in Eugene, or even anywhere, even in Kenya or Ethiopia, where the running culture is there, it started one day. There was one day that it started, and this is the start. That was then, and this is now. Within 5 months, the Indian Track Club has 18 athletes, serious athletes between the ages of 6 and 18, all from different backgrounds. Upper middle class, lower middle class, street children, who are all young and who all say they want to run for the country, who I believe can run for the country. And it's such a proud feeling that within 5 months we've had this, professional level abroad. They have teams of 5, 7, 8, 18 in this country, 6 children, 6-year-old kids who want to say that, you want to run for the country, coach? You want to run for the country? I'm going to share a few experiences about what we did at the club. One of the most amazing experiences at the club was Salam Balak Trust. I'm sure many of you know what the Salam Balak Trust is. It's an NGO for street and working children. We went there and we held a time trial. This time trial for over 200 children. And we said, all right, show what you can do. All you street children, run bare feet, but let's see how fast you can run. We'll select 5 kids. We selected 5 kids. This is what a couple of pictures from Salam Balak Trust. I can barely be seen from one of these pictures on the right. On the left, you see them hugging me. Now, this is not because of my flashy equipment that I've got from the United States or these orange Indian Track Club jerseys that I'm wearing. No. It was because, all right, take me with you. We want to run for the country. All of us want to run for the country. Take me with you. We can do it. And because they're young, they're 6, 7 years old, they haven't seen anything. All they know is that they want to run for the country. And this country is so great. And I said, wow. And I look back at those times and all those people who said, no, it can't happen. It won't work like that. In our country, nobody understands it. There you go. Little children, this is what they want. And I was happy, and this was something that I said, all right, Indian Track Club is here to stay. Another really important experience happened. The Indian Track Club held its very first event. We do events as well, so we held this event for little children. Now in India, we don't have a culture where children get an opportunity to run. So we invited lots of schools. We invited 700 athletes, little kids, to run in races. And this was the first time in India, as little as 4 years old, these kids were running in a race in lanes, organized, and it was amazing. And the event was successful. But the event being successful was not the main thing. Something even bigger than that happened one day on that event. At lunchtime, everybody's eating their snacks, having their drinks. And I'm sure many of you have heard Bhaag Milkha Bhaag, the song Zinda, right? So Zinda, it's a beautiful song. I turned that on, and when I turned that on, oh my God, it was mesmerizing. Those little feet, the red tracks, and the music, they went wild. There were about 50 to 55 kids out of the 700, 50 to 55 kids who got on the track and they started running. They went helter-skelter. It was wild. It was unbelievable. It was for everybody to see. Everybody saw it. The families were happy. The parents were happy. And you're looking at the coaches being happy. I told myself that time, I said, oh, out of all these 700 children, one of them could be the special one, to take the Indian flag to the podium. And I said, all right, the Indian Track Club is here to stay. And I felt that was the moment. And I felt so proud. And that's the mission, my friends, is the Indian Track Club. And we're here only for one mission, to bring India the elusive gold medal for our country. Jai Hind. Thank you.